We're going to play with graphs today, and these graphs, we're going to look at federal budgets and some debt and deficit surplus. So the graph on the left shows the deficits and surpluses over time. You can see this from 1975 to 2021. The positive values are surpluses, so above, and the negative values, right, so the positive are above, negative are below, are deficits. The graph on the right illustrates the accumulation of debt from 1970. Okay, values are all in billions. Okay, so that just kind of explains what the graphs are looking at. Number one, according to the chart on the left, around what year was there a surplus in the federal budget? Now, surplus is the stuff that's above, right? So these right here, so if I make a line down, we're looking at maybe around 2000, right? Maybe 1998. I don't know. I was getting close to the end of my high school days. That's probably why we had a surplus. But there looks to be 4 years, about 4 years in a row where there was a surplus. And that's good, right? That means the federal government was taking more in than was going out. Now, how does that, going to number 2 here, how is that reflected in the accumulating deficit or debt chart on the right? Now, if we're looking at those 4 years, somewhere in the middle, we're looking at like right here, and you'll notice how it flatlines, right? It's steady. So the surplus wasn't so large that it made it go down, but it didn't grow. So you'll see that we kind of have just like a steady flat rate here, where in those years, the debt did not get bigger. It just stayed still, which, you'd rather it stay still than go up. All right, number 3, what years have had the highest deficits? Why? What events might have contributed to this? So if we look, we're looking at the chart on the left because that's where our deficits are. What year has the highest? Whoa. Here, the last 2. And the last 2 would have been like 2020, 2021. Y'all, what happened in 2020 and 2021? COVID, nationwide pandemic, everything shutting down, government giving money to all kinds of people to help people stay afloat. That caused a bigger deficit because, people weren't working because everything was shut down. We didn't leave our houses. People fought over toilet paper, right? We all remember this. And that caused a large deficit for those years. And look what happened on the other side on those years, right? Our accumulated debt also skyrocketed, which makes sense. If you have a larger deficit in a particular year, the overall debt is also going to go up a lot higher. And last question, estimate the accumulated debt of 2021. Okay, so accumulated debt, that's over here. So this bar, if I bring it over, so we're looking at, I don't know, maybe 28,000. That's what it looks like, a little over halfway, and that's in billion. Now, I can say, well, if I go 3 places, let's move it another 3, I would get 28 trillion. So we are estimating that the debt of the U.S. government, federal government here, is roughly $28 trillion in 2021. Now, I'm making this video in May of 2023, which means it's probably higher now. Until we start having a surplus year to year, this debt is only going to grow. So that is where we get into trouble, is that we continue to operate at a deficit year to year, and therefore the federal debt just continues to grow. You can't operate in a deficit without accumulating more debt. That is just how money works. Government, individual, doesn't matter. It's how it is.